Mine always
Does,
says recording anyway.
is the recording on, Kath?
Sure is.
Yeah, I've got a little red
Okay.
button that says that. So where are we beginning, ladies?
All right. Well, we just wanted to encourage everybody. This is Oracles Arising on the 10th of April. And we just wanted to encourage everybody to be encouraged, because what we're doing is really exploring heaven and what we haven't seen or heard before. So it's really a faith walk. But remember, the faith of God is in us. So we're stewarding that faith, and we're going like little children, and we can relax and trust that the Holy Spirit knows how to, open things up to us and show us things. So we wanted to be encouraged that because we're on this journey, or we're on this exploration, our expectation is to understand that that's where we're at. We're not at a place of necessarily great expansion or results or anything like that. We're more at a place of exploration, and as such, we can be encouraged. As some of the things that we are seeing are we can see things and call things into being, but we're not really, let's put it this way, we're just really understanding that we're going on an exploration at this point in time. And so we just wanted to encourage people not to be discouraged if you don't see what you think should be results or anything like that, because the results are things that are happening in us as we are experiencing and encountering God. But we are forerunners or whatever, forerunning. And to agree that we're walking by faith and that the Lord is faithful to lead us on track on things we haven't seen or known before, and just to relax in that. I don't know if you want other things you wanted to share, Kathy or Sharon.
No, that's good. I think that's good. Good encouragement.
Yes, that sums it up for me as well. One thing I saw was an unfinished map. There was a good portion of the map that we could see, and there were unfinished areas. What I was encouraged about was that the Lord showed us that it doesn't necessarily take long to discover and see more, that we felt that in rest rather than in striving, but in resting in Him, we could go places incredibly quickly, go new places, learn things, and get revelation quite quickly.
Yes.
As well as the sense of there is so much more to explore.
Yes. And another thing we also thought that just to remind us of is that whatever we encounter together is a treasure that we are called to steward then. And that means to embrace it into our own lives and let it begin to live out of our lives. Okay, so we will be good stewards of what we see and hear and have experience of as oracles arising. And something else just to say is that we also think it's good to when we go together. So we really, although we can see different things and go ourselves into the realms of heaven and see things, but we really want to go together. So as one person sees something, we look to engage with that, what they've seen, and then also not be hasty to just move on to something else. If you see something really different or something, wait a little while, because it's good to invest in what one person says they're seeing at that moment in time and see if we can see deep into it, more meaning, go into more of the depths of it before we move on to something else. Is that good?
Yes.
That's good. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't engage at all with what other people are seeing, but I just kind of hang in there as best I can, and then sometimes it does open up. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes there's just a tension of holding something and seeing if, okay, is this something that I can bring right now? But if I can hold on to it, then I can also still engage with where the rest of the group is, because we really want to do things together, and then see if it fits in at another time. That's also helpful.
Just pay attention. Nid. I pay attention to what I hear. I notice it. I comprehend it.
Okay, so shall we ascend together?
Yes.
I guess
Yes,
I'm going for it, girls, huh?
Yeah,
go for it.
Okay.
go away, lady.
Okay, so we just want to thank you so much, Holy Spirit, for taking us from glory to glory in the realms of heaven and showing us just what Jesus said you would, the truth, revealing it, taking us one step at a time, or however you want to. We just submit your government, your teaching function to us, your lordship over us, your covering over us, to lead us into all truth, Holy Spirit, and open up things to us we haven't seen or heard. We just welcome and acknowledge your lordship over us, and we just agree that our spirit is one with you, Lord, and in that our soul, or the soul that we're stewarding, the body that we're stewarding, is subject to, and we place it under our spirit right now, under your spirit, Holy Spirit, and we come together as one, recognizing that we are one spirit and one heart and one mind, and we come together in that union today in the spirit, and we submit ourselves to what you want to show us. We just acknowledge all our gates open to hear and to see and to smell, to taste and to feel, to engage with you. And we welcome also the angels on assignment with us that have been assigned to us at Oracles Arising. We honor you, MMM and Isabella, we honor you. We thank you so much for the angels' function, and that they are definitely servants that are for us, for your purposes, Holy Spirit. And we welcome all and want to be open, Father and Holy Spirit, Jesus, to all the realms of heaven, to all the great cloud of witnesses, as well as the seven spirits before the throne, as well as wisdom. Thank you so much, Lord. We're willing to go anywhere you want to take us. It's going to be good. Thank you. So as anybody sees anything, feel free to share what you see, and we'll just engage together.
I saw something, but I think it may have been for somebody that I know. Do you want me to talk about that or leave it?
Is that person in the group?
No.
Do you feel it's relevant to the group?
You know, let's for sure leave it for now. Maybe I'll think about it.
Okay.
I'm just seeing all golden light everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So I'm in the middle of something, but I'm not sure what.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw golden light, even like a sun, or even like a clock face. I wasn't sure. I'll wait on confirmation if that's anything. I wasn't sure if that was just me.
I saw that too. I saw a round light initially, like around, almost looked like a really huge orb if I were to just compare it to something. Not that that's what it was. Just a big, bright light. Round.
Yeah.
So, shall we go into this
Well,
light? This golden light.
What came to me, and just if anybody confirms it all, was who are these, and shining like the sun, something.
I think we need to look into it a little bit more before going in.
Okay.
Hmm. I think I'm already in it, and I think I'm perceiving pillars inside.
I was already in it as well, and I saw it manifest as if I was, or we were in a block of gold, like a gold cube room, just a cube.
Wow.
That's what I saw. It's almost like a room of gold, but like
Huh.
I can see all the faces like squared, like 3-dimensional, or maybe more, but I can see it more like 3-dimensional squared room. It makes me like feel like I'm sitting in a block of gold or standing in a block of gold.
Does the block feel solid or not?
Let me check in for a second.
Sure.
It feels very structured, like crisp
Okay.
and defined. The lines are defined
Right.
and solid in a sense, even though I think it's with the light as well. But it's like a straight, like reminds me of the same color of a 24 karat gold. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've sensed that there's flow within it, like it's a solid structure, but
Right.
there's
Exactly.
movement within.
Yes. Yeah. There's a solidness, but it's not restricted
Yeah.
per se. Yes.
Okay, well, let's all join them.
And I just wanted to add a welcome in to Colleen and Jen, who joined us since we started the recording. Welcome, ladies.
Yes, yes. I'm seeing now more like it's the cube, but there's terraces ascending, and with like the pillars I saw were like upholding the terrace above, kind of thing. So I think it is a cube, but it again multidimensionally more than that too. Papa, can you tell us where we are and what this is about?
You remember what you were saying about the terrace?
Mm-hmm.
I saw the. I think it's called. I mean, I think it's called a terrace. The part of the White House where it's sort of like a balcony overlooking the lawn.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that is directly related to what we're doing right now or not, though.
I have the impression in the sense of more of us in here now, actually.
Huh.
I'm sensing the rest of you, or at least some of the rest of you anyway. I hope everybody. That's neat.
Has everybody come into the golden room?
Yes.
Yes.
Truth is, guys, I'm a little
Yes.
wary right now. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit mixed in my influences. I guess I'm carrying intercession for false seeing in the spirit and things like that. So I'll probably be doing more listening than anything. But I'm going to do what I can to follow along. And there's I've just gotten a bit sidetracked. So
Thanks for letting us know, Robin.
yeah.
Kathy B says yes by messenger. If anyone wants to use the typing chat, we're keeping an eye on that as well, so people can contribute there.
think
I
there
saw
was
the
a-
space. Sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, I thought there is something to what Robin saw with the balcony there, and I know the Queen addresses from a balcony as well, and that there's something governmental about about the terraces or something. That's
Okay.
all.
That's good. I agree. I couldn't find the right word for it. I was thinking, is it like an amphitheater or stadium? But yeah, it's more. Yeah, I agree with that sense of governmental. So am I loud enough when I speak, or am I quiet?
You're fine.
You're good.
You're fine.
Oh, good. Thanks. I still get a sense of it being golden and radiant and glorious. And
Yes.
I saw the columns. Around the edge of the space, and I did get a sense of it being an important gathering place.
If it's like a balcony down here, then it's a place where it's more of a viewing place where celebrations happen, where it's not, at least down here, it's not usually where they make decrees or anything from. It's where they appear after an event, or they appear during after a wedding, after a birthday celebration, or just a
Publicly before yes, lighten up. I don't know if that's just for me, but
Mhm.
I really need that, actually. I guess I live in an area where there's a lot of geographical and church related religious spirits and family stuff as well, and just everything is very, very against being just joyfully free in the spirit. And even the churches that really want it and talk about it from the pulpit have a lot of experiencing it, and it has a lot to do with the geographical tutorial stuff that they haven't dealt with, and that's my gifting. So it sees me, it knows I know it's there, and it's because the whole attack is don't really believe I can't, because I'm stuck in the sense of what do I do? How do I do it? And I know that's not me. I know I could list the people that it's intercession for, but because it's intercession for them, it's identificational, right? So so it's like I experience life through their lens. And so I've been really I'm sorry to get things off track a bit, but it's been really hard. So yeah, I definitely receive that. Lighten up would be awesome.
Lighten up. Yeah, and when you were just talking there, it was just resting in the river was the other thing that kind of rose up as a,
Thank you.
those things are other things that you do carry, and there's a thing there, but do it from resting,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
river.
yeah.
Right? Be carried.
Yes, I also got a sense of while this golden place was a celebratory place, it didn't feel like high energy, like a party. It felt solemn, like the occasion of appearing on the balcony, and I feel like there is that sense of rest in it. I feel like we take on the golden radiance of that place and just release it.
Mm.
To me, it has a sense, and I'll be interested to know if people resonate with this, a sense of being on display, of being there with the Ancient of Days in that golden light and being on display with that. And even does it tie in with being an oracle? Being an oracle is, we've seen it and we can speak of it, share it with others, release it from our very being.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if we're standing with him and we're in this glory cube or whatever, and on the balcony with him, to me it just speaks of coming here and standing in that glory, identifying with it, so that we can not just go out and speak it, but we can go out and we can release it from here, but we can also be it and take it with us and come back and be refreshed and take it out again, and just recharging.
Would you say that the gold is the glory of God? Would you say that the gold is the glory of God, which to me is His presence, but maybe it's I don't know.
It's his presence, but this place is golden. This place is maybe a transmitting place for the glory, a place where it's just so full. He resides and fills it, and it's a place where we can not pick it up, but where we can stand in him to become the glory with him. You know how you said at the beginning, we're all one mind, one spirit, one heart in him. It's the same thing with the glory. As we go from glory to glory until we're at the point where we become that as he is, so are we.
Two things really leapt out at me there. One was the on display that Sharon said, and that is the whole oracles thing, I think. And that happens as we're transmitting this glory that we're standing in, and it's a gold thing, and gold is a superconductor that there's no resistance against the current flowing through it. And so that seemed to be part of the puzzle here.
I wonder if there's also a link between the spaces inside and coming out to the balcony. Is it about where we've been in the private places, the throne room, maybe a worship party, we've been in the courts, we've been in the heavens, and then this is that place of display, we're coming out, and we have what we carry. Does anyone else feel a sense of that?
Well, that was good. Sharon, would you say that again? Because I want to mull on it better.
Well, when I think it was Quinn explaining about the role of the balcony, and I'm Aussie, so it's something I know. Of course, we see the imagery here, special occasions when they wave from the balcony and so on. I don't know it as well as some of you would, but I got a sense of, I was thinking of, okay, this is the metaphor here. What does it mean? And I got a sense of, we've been in those places. We've been in the throne room, and I'm sure we want to spend more time there. We've been in the heart of God. We've been in the gardens. We've been in the courts, and the balcony is the place of display. And we have within us everything we've achieved in those places, everything we've done, where we've been refined, the glory that's been woven into our beings, and then there is this place of display, of releasing. And it's still a place of being intimately in his presence within that glory, and resting in that glory, and just joining in that process with God. His glory is on display.
I like that. That does resonate. What's been worked in us and the other things. It's kind of cool.
And now with it, I get a sense of excitement, like we're waving enthusiastically, and we have even bursting with the message. Even like the glory can bubble up inside of us, wanting to overflow. And I really feel the emphasis on the party. There's been a party inside heaven, and let's join in more. And we're coming out from the party still buzzing.
Can I share something with you that I saw a while ago? It's certainly right on point with what you're saying, but it's not something that I saw here. Is that okay, or do you want to stay with this?
I get a yes on that. Michelle, Kathy?
Go.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. There is a show on TV called Supernatural, and it's basically like I'm a screenwriter, and I'm working on a TV series script, and it's this supernatural TV show is a lot like what I would like to do, but there's a secular and doesn't include Jesus, and mine is with the whole point of it being the Jesus realm, right? So in that supernatural TV series, there is a character called Castiel who is an angel, and he's an angel of the Lord, but this is a secular series, right? So it's not, I wouldn't recommend it for theology, but in the image that I saw when I was seeking the Lord a while ago, we were just in sort of like a house party kind of a situation, and you have to imagine this Castiel character on TV. I mean, in my mind's eye, he looks exactly the same as on TV. He's just the guy with kind of slightly disheveled hair who's wearing this beige trench coat, and he doesn't have wings on the series most of the time. Sometimes they show up, but in my mind's eye, he didn't have his wings on or wings out or whatever. It was just Castiel standing there in his trench coat in this house party kind of situation. And beside him was a life-size carrot. And I immediately thought to myself, okay, obviously I'm really seeing something that's witchcraft, because I'm dealing with the whole doubting your gifts thing. And basically Satan keeps telling me that whenever I see in the spirit that it's witchcraft. So I keep going through this whole back and forth thing. And anyway, with this image, I thought, okay, obviously this isn't really Jesus. This is just the other stuff. Next image I saw was, have you ever seen when for a party, like what they'll do is they'll take a watermelon and they'll poke holes in it, and then they will, like round holes, and then they'll tip in a full bottle of different kinds of alcohol. Have you seen that? Or do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So on the table was this watermelon with all of these bottles dumping their alcohol into the watermelon. And Castiel took a slice and he ate some, and then he offered it to me. And at the time I thought to myself, are you serious? Like, is this really, this couldn't possibly be from God, because this is like the whole point of this is getting drunk. And I've been dealing with, because my discernment gift relates to angels and demons and what they're doing, there is a false version of what God does, and I see it, but then it also makes me doubt the true version, because I think to myself, well, what if it's the false? And so I've been getting into the wrong kind of discernment, I think, where I just have an easier time picking out what Satan is doing rather than God. So when I saw that image of Castiel with the watermelon and the drunken party kind of a thing, I didn't know whether to receive it or not. But then I realized later, I mean, God has wine cellars. We have the feast with wine and lots of wine flowing. So I've drunk from his wine. I had no problem with wine, but for some reason I had a problem with a watermelon slice that was soaked in other kinds of alcohol. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yes, it's hard to know. Then discernment is a challenging thing, but I know that the Lord is faithful to train us in discernment.
Yeah. I think
Did you feel there was...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, did you feel, what prompted you to think of that, and was there a link? Is anyone else getting the relevance here? And of course, discernment is always relevant. And
I think God is continuing to invite Robin to lighten up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
that's
You
good.
were, I think you were saying something about, I don't know, what was it now? Something about wine, maybe, or something about,
Party?
yeah, the party. That's what it was.
Yeah, because you had an example of the party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of party? Is it a heavenly party or a not heavenly party? Yep. Yeah.
The other impression I'm getting with all of this is this on display. And Colleen wrote a really beautiful little thing there. I don't know if everybody saw it, about it being a place of burnishing of our, us being shined up in the glory. And it keeps returning to me that the balcony is a place where, it goes on TV around the world, and it's, a face-to-face kind of thing with the people in the lawn. And it's like we're being displayed in heaven, you know what I mean? Where the glory that's been worked in us through our different other experiences is then shined up and displayed. it feels like it's part of a process of being known in the heavenlies. You know what I mean? That the normal occupants can go, oh yeah, I saw her on the balcony, or something like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, so Colleen's comment in chat was that perhaps this place is more like a burnishing place where the glory in us is cleansed, is highly shines to be revealed more. And I love your phrase, Quinn, shining up the stars.
Everything so far really has resonated with me. I can really engage with all of it. But I just wanted to share earlier on when we were first inspecting the area, I felt like, and I don't know what this means exactly, but I felt like this like drawing to like look closer. And I went and I looked on the actual floor, like I guess the foundation of this, dimensional golden cube room. And I felt like there was like old writings, like I couldn't detect what it said. It was like you had to look at it different ways. And at one moment you could look at the golden, it's almost like a golden mirror. You can just see such light, like you can almost see a reflection. And then other times I felt like I could see in layers of like things written. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. And then just another side note, when I was looking at one of the faces like in front of me of this multi-dimensional room, I saw like a whole nother window, almost like if you've ever seen one of those pictures, say at a restaurant or somewhere where it's a 3-dimensional picture, like it takes you into a different scene, like a window and a path or something. I saw like we were in this 3-dimensional area, and then there was like a window of like a path that kind of was golden, but with like a lot of light. And I just felt like there was something, not that we had to go on it, but I just felt like it was something like whatever was happening here had something to do with the future walk. So like it could move with us. This whole encounter experience is meant to go with us or something. I don't know, something to that sense. I don't know if anyone else is getting anything with that, but
That's great.
Yeah, it's good.
When you said the ancient writing, that just connected with me with the Ancient of Days and what he's written in us from eternity.
yeah, I saw that actually even before you mentioned the Ancient of Days, so it just kind of kept that with me. It's good.
And Colleen says, can it be a link to ancient paths? Ancient of Days, ancient writing, ancient paths. Yes, I agree. I felt his ancient ways, his eternal ways.
Love that.
That resonates.
Because he's in us and we're in him, do you think that this is a place where we are actually seeing the aspect of the perfection of God? because of the gold that is, gold is refined in the fire, but because gold represents it represents a perfection, and that I know that people talk about the age of perfection, but I feel like it's more like the place of perfection. It's one of the realms of the aspects of God that is in us, and we are in that reality. We just are being brought to come into alignment with that. So the Lord purifies us and cleanses our gates and so on from the things that disturb us and lie to us, and we get cleansed from that so that we can now identify, fully with that place of perfection.
That's really resonating with me, Michelle.
Yes, me too.
The gold around us actually, to me, seems to be resonating with those words too. Just
Yeah.
kind of experiencing that on a couple of levels.
As soon as you said that, it's like I heard the walls like humming, like with like feedback. It's like I don't know, like sounding back.
Resonating or harmonizing. Yeah.
Yes.
What a special place.
Yeah, and that we would be brought here to know that, and to know that without striving, without trying to get there, we've been put there. Perfection is the gift of God.
One other thing that I think resonates with what Michelle's saying is when we're kind of wondering, where are we exactly, or what could this mean? And I just had like this fleeting, like, heart whisper from God, like that whatever it is, we're in his heart, like that, like this is a place that even though there's times when we're directly going into his heart, that wherever he takes us, there's like this overlapping, like it's also in his heart. It's like it can't be removed from his heart.
Yeah, that's good. So like it's the truth about that we are in perfection, of the perfection of him, and he in us is that perfection of him is in us.
Kind of standing here taking it in and feeling the gold beneath my feet and touching the pillar or the wall and identifying.
What are those pillars?
They're gold and they're the foundation holding up another level and then another level and then another level. I don't know what that means, but that's what I see. Maybe it's glory to glory.
Well, is there anything less than perfection in all of heaven?
Such a good point, hey?
Really loud.
This is it feels so random to say this, but I saw like this squiggle, and at first it kind of creeped me out. Like I'm like, what is that? Like a snake or something? Like what is that? But when I looked closely, it was the letter M again, mem, written like in its original Hebrew. Like yeah, but at first it freaked me out. I was like, what is that? And then floating in the middle, like the very central part of the room, like this room. And it was very distinctive, even though it was floating, and it was blue though. It was like a dark blue where I almost wondered if it was black, but it was blue actually.
When you said that it was blue, I just had a really strong, just a powerful surge of the spirit. I don't know a lot about the Hebrew letters. I've just started getting into that a little while ago, and I've had such powerful, like high level encounters with heaven, and then I get slammed with other stuff, and then I forget all about it for like sometimes months, and then I remember how such and such used to happen, and then I revisit it, and then I pick it up again, and so it's been sort of a haphazard thing. But like when I started getting into the Hebrew letters, it really was just a huge thrust forward. And tell me, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about this one. I don't know much about this one.
I'm just
Mem.
learning about it a little bit more, but I think there's probably a couple other people that are more studied on it.
Right.
One thought that I know it has to do with might and waters and like almost like a mothering, like we met an angel or engaged with an angel, Emma Mem, a few weeks back. But other than that, I just, that's what I saw. So maybe someone can add to the meaning of it.
Yeah, the letter mem means the overflowing, never-ending supply of the waters or rivers of heaven.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, that was the original meaning of the name of Adam was Aleph, which means the head or the leader. Dalet, which means the opening or the door. And then Mem. So Adam was the head releaser of as a doorway of the never-ending supply of heaven into the earth.
Huh. Thanks.
And that identity obviously has been redeemed for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before I saw the letter M, I was standing right in the center. Like I just wanted to stand right in the center of this room. And earlier on, I kept feeling like the gold coming out, like gold not coming out, but like I could see it in the air, I guess you'd call air, but just like flecks of gold, like being infused or diffused and infused. And then it was after that I saw the letter mem. And so when Michelle just said the never-ending supply, the overflowing, I just feel like there's something with the gold coming into me or to us.
Yes, I agree that we
Wow.
should take that gold into us, let us just be one with the gold of God's perfection.
And it's the gold and the light that's with the gold. It's the gold, the light, and the purity of it that I really feel.
When you talked about the source, the never-ending source, and before I was just thinking that, this was maybe a place of origin. Maybe this is the source of that river of glory. It's where it was, where it comes out of him, or where we can come to not only be restored in it, but also it's where we come to gather to go from the place of like those terraces of glory to glory, so that we come here to be perfected in our identity. Sorry, my dog's barking at the storm. But it's the source, but also the end point. That circle, the Hebrew circle, where we come each time until we're perfected. I'll shut this off. Sorry.
Well, and this whole room and area started with a round ball of like light.
Yeah, I really bear witness with that, Colleen. I really do. I feel like that as we are part of the Ancient of Days, that this is the substance of his perfection is the place of that where the rivers, out of which the rivers flow, the perfection of who he is. And we can actually, that's where we are. I agree. I feel like that's where we are.
So I've been breathing in the gold flecks and just visualizing that coming in. And then I was like, oh, I'm also breathing them out now.
Oh, cool.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
How about everybody else? Is everyone else still engaging in this place with God?
I am.
Yes, I'm still taking it all in.
3 yeses in chat. Jen Han, Colleen, Kathy B say yes. I sense the Father's joy and heaven's delight. The process. I got a sense of being buffed up, like being shined, like we were talking about before, burnishing, shining.
Can we just mute our microphones if we're not speaking?
I just have a sense also of us collectively belonging here, individually and collectively.
Yeah.
I get a sense. I was just thinking of, finding the river's source, being that kind of that explorer that has found something for the first time. And I just got thinking of the whole celebration thing. I thought maybe there's a banner, you know, a flag, something that we can release from the balcony um, to make this place known, to open, to be the gates, to open the access to it, to say it's here and it's glad it's found, and it's the source of our glory, and it's where we start and where we return to. So look up and see and see the goodness of God, and that it's for you.
I was just getting a similar type of thing, Colleen. I was just thinking that we could stand on that balcony and declare that the truth, that perfection is in us and we are in perfection, and it's all a gift.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if we should wait a little longer before we do that and just see what else we see about it, if there's anything else anybody wants to share.
Oh yeah, that's fine. It was just that it just seemed what the balcony was for when we're ready to go to do that, to
Yeah,
Actually,
I was also seeing that.
the funny thing is I was trying to share something, but you weren't listening and I was getting annoyed. And then I realized, wait a second, my mute is on. So anyway, point being, when you were talking about maybe we can release a flag or something, I saw this really long rainbow banner unfurl from that's like from the railing of the balcony of the White House. And it was the same kind of banner that is often used for the LGBTQ community. It was really long, and it got down, like the end of it was down on the ground, and then a pink triangle was on the bottom anchoring it. And then I saw, have you guys heard about the Angel Delta?
I
No.
haven't.
Okay, what about Metatron?
Yes.
Okay. Delta, I don't know much about. I just found something about him a couple of days ago, actually. So, do you guys know Paul Cox or Aslan's Place?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do.
If you go on his site, if you're interested, I can try to figure out how to find the video, because I don't remember exactly what page it was on. But anyway, he talks about the Angel Delta, and he didn't say a lot about it in that video. But Delta is basically regarding time, and it has something to do with redeeming time, with bringing time into Kairos time. And so Delta has a triangle head, and the pink triangle on that anchored the rainbow flag onto the lawn of the White House. The pink triangle, I don't remember the details, but I think it is supposed to be a symbol of the LGBTQ community. So what I get the sense of is the flag is, it's in the world's eyes, it's the LGBTQ community, but for God it is his covenant, it is his promise. And I saw the Angel Delta with his triangle head at the top of the balcony, like right beside where the flag was. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I saw him at the top of the balcony where the flag was, and he had a head of wheat in his hand. And then he jumped down the flag like it was on it, like it was a slide. And when he got to the ground, he dusted his knees off and he planted something. Maybe somebody else can see what he planted. I'm not getting a really clear sense of it.
Would it be kind of like releasing the glory to earth?
Yeah. I think it's calling in the LGBTQ people. And I won't get into the details here because it's not on topic, but the gist is God has been giving me a heart for the Hollywood community and for people who are gay and living in that lifestyle. And he's been showing me the spiritual roots of what keeps them trapped. And I've been doing a lot of warfare for them. So this is actually really encouraging for me personally, but I think it's also if we could maybe even agree for Hollywood and for the LGBTQ community to be saved, to have the blinders fall off of their eyes, that they would recognize what they're doing, that it isn't really what they want. They're just really desperately deceived and wounded.
The rainbow with me also is always like I see that flag all over the place, and I always go, praise God, seven
Yeah,
spirits, you know.
yeah.
So it feels
Exactly.
like a release of the seven spirits as well, which is
Yes.
the government on his shoulders, which is us, and that
Wow.
release from heaven into earth through us. And I've got young adult kids, and they are also share your heart for that community.
Oh, okay.
So we certainly bless and call them in.
Yeah. I really believe that Ellen DeGeneres and Neil Patrick Harris are going to be saved. And I think they're going to be outright spokesmen for the Lord.
Damascus
And for
experiences for them.
Sorry?
May there be Damascus Road experiences for them.
Yes. Yes, Lord.
I love the connection with the rainbow to covenant, as you mentioned, and
Yeah.
it's glorious that his covenant is extended to absolutely anybody, everybody, and his covenant love is to draw everybody into that unconditional love with him. That he wants to bring everybody into this place of his abundant provision and everything, glory, love, all of it. I wonder if the banner down to the ground even extends as an invitation back up.
Huh.
Actually, now I see more banners and flags, as Colleen said. Yeah, more banners and flags of people in that golden area.
Jen, Kathy, Davis, anything to share?
I came in kind of too late, but I'm just kind of tracking and sensing what everybody's sensing.
Yeah, I'm believing that this is all about recognizing our identity and who we are in order to release what heaven to earth.
Yes, I absolutely agree. one of the images God gave me for what my ministry will be like, or what his sort of, I guess in a sense, what his goal is for me in relation to other people. Have you ever seen, I think it was a Kleenex commercial, where there's these cowboys. It starts off with just cowboys around a campfire, and they're sort of just eating and getting ready for the day, and it's the morning, and they get up on their horses, and they go over to where their herd is, but instead of cattle, it's actually herding cats. Have you seen that commercial?
No.
It's hilarious. So your typical cowboys, right? They look exactly like out of any Western. They get up on their horses, and they go over to where their herd is, and their herd is a bunch of cats. And then it goes through the whole process of them, getting the herd going, and you've got these cats that are just milling everywhere. This massive, like as far as the eye can see, there's all these furball cats everywhere. And so as they're herding cats, as they are trying to get all these cats to go in the same direction, they're sniffling and having these allergic reactions, right? So they basically, it's an ad for Kleenex. So they're pulling up their Kleenex, and they're wiping their noses, but like the scene is this massive field with just a humongous, endless herd of cats, all just randomly running in different directions, and these cowboys on horses trying to keep them in the same direction, and trying to head off the ones that are going off in the wrong direction, and trying to keep them all in the same direction. And the cats are squealing and meowing, and it's just total chaos, but it's all in the same general direction. And I think basically what I see is there was a different ascension that I was on, where somebody saw, it was within the context of Esther giving us scrolls. And I don't know if anybody here was on that ascension, but the scrolls became cats and snuggled with us and just purred on our lap, and it was the sense of intimacy. So everybody had a very different cat. They looked different. They were different ages. They some were fat, some were skinny. We would describe our cat, and then basically that was the only thing that came up during that ascension. But ever since then, the cat has been the symbol of intimacy for me. And so I have a cat that I don't because like I said, it's been kind of I've been distracted, shall we say, in terms of seeing. But like when I spend time with the cat the Lord has given me, it's just that sense of his intimacy and his grace and his love. And it's at the same time, it's also your scroll. And so my sense of this idea of herding cats is it reminds me a lot of the character of Jane Johnson's Ecclesia. We each have this valuable destiny in the Lord. We each have a valuable mandate, if you will, or this is what God is giving me to offer the world. But it's all from that place of intimacy, and it's all from that place of love of the Father. And so my role is a little bit like the cowboy in that commercial of herding cats, right? When I'm interacting with somebody, finding a way to give life to their cat, to their scroll, and to encourage it in the right direction. So I release cats to you guys.
It's interesting how different things can draw us into that place when Father's trying to bring us into real intimacy, isn't it? And so he breaks through the things, the barriers to just draw us in, and he's so loving. All his creation is is valuable. I have an amazing cat that I call a Christian cat because she's always praising God and praying and so there's different things. But I just felt like maybe we could just come back to the place where we are with God, and if everybody wants to, now we could just go into that balcony, and together we could release that what we saw. We could release what Colleen said, and release those words of truth, just out from heaven into the earth, that the truth that perfection is in us and we are in perfection, and it's all a gift. And that if everybody wants to do that and is ready to do that, or if someone else has something with regard to the gold and the glory that we've been in, of the Father's perfection, his heart.
I have something real quick. Right before we were talking about going onto the balcony, I did see another letter. I saw the letter L, and I don't know a ton about it, but I think I don't know if it's the shepherd's staff, but it's the Lamed, and I know it has something to do with learning. And I felt like just being reminded that as we're learning, as we've just been, I mean, I know we know this already, but I just felt like it was interesting that I saw that before we went to the balcony, because there's something to do with the timing of we've learned something new today, even though it was just through being and exploring a new place. So that's it.
I like that.
And before I'd had a sense of, when we were kind of exploring still, of just leaning into the wall when you talked about letters being there. I just did that, like to lean into the wall and let the infusion of that learning you were just talking about take place. Just as we rest, to be filled with an increase of the knowledge of his glory that's going to cover the earth, because we're going to be filled with it walking around it. So the more we infuse, the more we can release, and the more we can get to that state of perfection, going back to the original source of that unending flow of glory that this place seems to be.
Yeah, I feel like I want to lean in briefly, real quick, before we go in, because I felt like something scrollish about the ancient writings, but more like, I don't know, could be individual or just like a blanket of what's for all of us, So I just felt led to lean in real quick with that.
Like, here we are in this place, on this balcony, and perfection is in us, and we're in perfection, and it is all a gift. Just let that truth resonate and resound and transform my identity.
You know how there's that word too in I think it's Ephesians. I'm not 100% sure where it talks about those he foreknew, he
He also predestined.
predestined, those he predestined, he called, those he called, he justified, those he justified, he glorified. That's what I just get a sense that this place can be is that place of glorification, our source, our endpoint, all in that Hebrew circle of completeness. And we can issue that invitation from here. Just release it to the earth because it is for everyone. Because everyone comes from him, and the purpose for everyone is to be glorified in him.
That's good.
Yes, and amen. And that sounds like Romans, perhaps Romans 8.
Yes, so shall we do that together? Is everybody
Yes.
on board?
I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Colleen, would you like to?
Oh, okay. I kind of have this little ditty kind of
Okay.
bubbling up. I won't sing it, but I'll just release the words. It's like, come to the river of glory, the source of your beginning and end. Come to this river of glory that your Father has purposed for you, that your Father is extending the invitation, and the source of it never ends. So come up, come in, and keep coming to this river of glory, and you'll become more and more like him, and in him, and full of him in this glory river. We just release that to you today.
Yes, and we just agree and say together that the perfection of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, His very perfection dwells in everyone who believes, and that we are in Him who is perfection, and that perfection is a gift. And so we declare that out, we declare that over to those that are part of the body of Christ already, that are believers, that have believed in Jesus, to know this truth, that perfection is a gift, because God is perfection and He's in us and we're in Him. And we call this word of truth to resonate and be released and reverberating frequency into the earth, to be heard by believers, to be grasped and understood that this is our identity, that this is our identity. And we're being made to catch up with the reality of it by the Holy Spirit, who's taking us from the glory to glory of it.
Amen.
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 And because Robin saw that banner, and Colleen, you also mentioned something like that, and we just agree that we just agree that the rainbow, the covenant that the Father extended, which is an expression also of the seven spirits before the throne, is the eternal covenant with all mankind, which is established through Jesus Christ. And we just call all to come in, come into the perfection that you belong in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, guys, thank you so much. This has been really, I can't even put into words how much I've needed this. I just, I had almost forgotten what it's like to see, not just in the sense of I see an image, but to really feel His presence. And I really feel Him a lot more clearly now than I was. And if anybody would be interested sometime, like I don't want to take over what we're doing here by any stretch, but if anybody would be interested in sometime having this kind of an ascension that is focused on, I guess for me, for my heart right now, it's the LGBTQ community, and also Hollywood, and also, oddly enough, the government, specifically of America, and roots of Freemasonry, because it all ties together so simply once God shows you what's happening there. But the gist of it is the gods of Freemasonry are very focused on the confusion of gender, and basically it's flipping whatever God wants to do. It's the opposite, right? So I would really, sometime, if there's other people who are of the same heart, I would so love to carry these issues to the Lord and just see what he brings, because what I see is just a very final push by Satan to take over, to take the mountain of Hollywood in particular, to bring in the confusion of gender and the confusion of morality and all the different things that we always talk about. Oh, it's my heart to be there someday, to actually be a director and a screenwriter and to call people out of it. But as God has shown me the roots of the spiritual assignments against these people, I have actually, it hasn't been an intellectual thing, you probably understand that, but God has identified me with key people in Hollywood to pray for their salvation. And it has been so vile and so violent and so sexually perverted that it's hard to even describe it, which I would not bother and wouldn't put you through. But I guess what I'm saying is I've been carrying these issues, and just even what we've done so far has done so much for freeing that up in me and freeing me from those burdens. But just if there's interest from other people, what I would like to do is actually have an ascension where we are bringing the LGBTQ and the Hollywood and the Freemasonry roots of government before the Lord. So that's my heart. I don't know if it's one that resonates with absolutely anybody on earth at this point, but that's my heart. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Sharon. Robin. Actually, we have been engaging, in the courts of heaven over the Freemasonry for a period of time. Yeah, for actually a couple of years now. So things opened up to us of what was going on, and we have also touched on some of those things. But I'm sure there would be some of us that would be happy to engage with you, especially for the LGBT in the courts of heaven.
Yeah.
I
would love that.
Yeah, so wherever we are connected with you on Facebook or any way that we can just chat. Are you part of the Ecclesia framework at all?
I am.
Chat group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Well, something can come up out of that, and we'll see who'll join together. But thanks for sharing that with us. And I was going to say, you said you had these amazing encounters, and sometimes you'd forget them. Do you keep a journal and write them down, Robin?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, also we're also just learning how to let our gates be open to the Lord, and sometimes there's opposition trying to oppress or intimidate. But as we learn to go into the courts of heaven on behalf of these things, we are able to stand in our place of authority and be free. So I know that's going to be your testimony too. So we're all getting to that place. So, whatever areas that we don't want the enemy to have any chance, boy. Not a snowball's chance at all.
Yeah.
To have anything to do with us,
That's right.
So, can I continue recording, or do you want me to turn the recording off?
Oh, sorry, Kathy. I'll turn it off. Sorry.
Okay.